Hey, this is Don from Padlock Technologies once again with a really late video. I know you guys are probably wondering where I've been at. Well, pretty simple. I've been sick, so caught a little cold. So obviously I wasn't able to upload any videos. That's number one. Number two is I was actually recertifying my two CCIEs, which I'm probably going to do another video for anybody that has a CCIE that's coming up close to recertification on certain things you should not do when you are trying to recertify, right? And that's a mistake that I made. But I recertified my two certifications, so my CCIEs and my CCNPs, all that stuff has been recertified. I am now going on a new journey for the CCDE. I actually passed the written exam, which is what I was doing. And when you pass the written exam, it recertifies all the other exams. That's the one-shot exam that you can take to recertify. But I'm a glutton for pain, so we're going to climb up another mountain. So I'm looking to go with two CCIEs and a CCDE eventually. Now it's probably going to take me a year, maybe a year or so to get the CCDE. I'm going to be really down in the books. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be uploading videos. Just going to be really in studying and stuff like that. And since I've studied a wide breadth of technologies, the CCDE should not be as difficult as the other ones. It's still going to be difficult, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be as difficult because there's no configuration in the CCDE. It's more of a high level architecture kind of thing. So you got to know a lot of technologies. You got to know, your layer two, layer three. You got to know the emerging technologies. And I noticed they did something different. Is now they have these like expertise, which is either large scale networks or AI networks. So I'm gonna have to study some AI stuff because I'm probably gonna go for that. But what's the point of this video? So the point of this video got a question about machine tunnels and what they are and why you should use them. So what we're going to do is go to the whiteboard here like we always do. We're going to talk about machine tunnels. All right. And now these are VPN tunnels or RA VPN tunnels, by the way. So what this is a technique. Uh, what problem we're trying to solve here is basically these are for our road warriors, people who do not come in the office, like rarely come in the office, like salespeople, stuff like that. They're going to clients and stuff like that. They're not going in to sign in locally at, a headquarters or a branch site or something like that. And you need these machines. Maybe you push updates to them. Maybe you have some other software that you have to constantly update, or you may have to update from time to time. But since they're never in the office, you never really get time for them to be hooked into the network. So what this machine tunnel does is, let's draw it out here. Let's say you have a user here, right? And we'll just say user one, user one's machine. Now they're going to be home or whatever. Most of the time they're going to be at client sites. This is mainly done with a lot of people that are like Salesforce people. I see this a lot. And then we'll have a data center over here. We'll have our data centers, the DC1, DC2, right? And then we can have I'll use blue, we'll have a VPN head in here and a VPN head in here. So VPN A, VPN B head in. So what this is going to do is this is going to allow you to initiate a tunnel when that machine comes up, as long as it has internet access. It will initiate a tunnel back to one of these VPN head ends, depending on what you do in your XML profile, your VPN profile, stuff like that. You can say either go to head end one or head end two, really doesn't matter. But what you're going to do is this machine, as soon as you turn it on, it's going to initiate a tunnel back to one of these data centers or something like that. Right? Now, once it initiates that tunnel, that means it's always on. That means someone in DC1 or DC2, or maybe at the headquarters or something like that, can actually see this machine on the network, right? What that allows you to do is push updates, update software, monitor the machine, and it makes sure that this machine is connected to the domain. So from time to time, you might run into an issue where You try to log into your machine and it says it can't find a domain. Well, if you use machine tunnels, that kind of eliminates all this because it's always going to be attached to the domain at some point, right? So you'll have your machine tunnel that can handle all of this back-end management work. So think of your machine tunnel as a management tunnel. You're just using that to update the machines, make sure the machine is on the domain so it doesn't lose the domain, yada, yada, yada. Then you have your user tunnel, which is initiated by the user when they, open up their secure client, type in username or password, or they just use certificate-based authentication. And then when that user tunnel kicks in, the machine tunnel goes away. And when I say goes away, that means it deactivates itself, right? Deactivates, so you have your user-based tunnel now. It's the same REVPN style, but it's used in a user context and not just a machine tunnel. And then people will just normally get to what they need to get to. Now, the machine-based tunnel is probably going to only be something where you say, hey, you can only get to, your management servers and stuff like that, things that you need to push out, updates and things like that. And your user tunnel, when that activates, allows them to get to other resources. So you don't want your user tunnel and your machine tunnel to be able to get to the same resources. Kind of doesn't make any sense, especially when all you're really doing on the machine tunnel is just managing the box itself. And then when you terminate the user tunnel, the machine tunnel will automatically kick in again, right? So it keeps it on the network as long as it's on the internet, right? Now, in order to do a machine-based tunnel, there is no username and password for this. This machine-based tunnel, and let me draw another tunnel for the user-based tunnel here. So the user-based tunnel is the same thing. The machine-based tunnel is certificate-based only, so cert-based only, right? Because obviously you're not going to log into the machine. So you have to have another mechanism to authenticate to your VPN heading. So that's where you're going to use certificate-based authentication. Now, if you're using an on-prem firewall, that's pretty simple to do. If you're doing something like Cisco Secure Access, this is where I showed you in a couple other videos where we were using user-based certificate-based authentication. You're going to have to upload your PKI or your internal CA, sub CA, whatever you got there. You have to upload that in the secure access, and then you have to configure the machine tunnel. And when we actually go into secure access, I'm going to show you the machine tunnel configuration because it's pretty simple to do. And then I'll show you what it looks like from a login perspective, how it looks to the user experience. Now, your user tunnel can be username and password or cert base. Now, in this case, if you're already doing cert base for your machine tunnel, you might as well do cert base for your user tunnel. And that user tunnel could either be using the user certificate or using the same computer certificate. Really doesn't matter. But this is machine tunnels in a nutshell. The benefits of this is you're going to always be able to manage the machine. It's an always on tunnel. So as long as your corporate asset is on the internet, there will be a tunnel back to your VPN headend, which allows you to send updates, which makes sure that the machine doesn't it doesn't lose any connectivity to the domain. Because the worst thing is they get that error message, can't find the domain, and then they have to travel into a branch site or back to your headquarters for you to, you know, unenroll them and re-enroll them into the domain. That's a pain in the butt. And most people, especially salespeople, they may not have time to ever do that, right? This is where you have other options where you can kind of use Azure AD to kind of enroll machines there. But if you don't have Azure AD, then you have to rely on a solution like this. This is Dan for Padlock Technologies. Again, sorry for being so long between the videos. Was dealing with those two situations. Next video is probably going to be a lab video on this machine tunnel concept in Cisco Secure Access. If you got any more video ideas or questions that you want me to answer, you can email questions at Padlock Technologies or padlocktech.com. I'm still dealing with the sickness, so I can't even remember my own domain. So I don't even know what that's all about. But if you have questions, just email questions@padlock.com. Hopefully this video was informative. Thank you and have a nice day.